Hello and welcome, and God save the Queen. Welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove, and I'm joined by a man whose ancestors came over on the Mayflower. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello. Yes, they did, to flee your queen. They did not, by the way.
The current queen. She's been around that long.
Yeah, exactly. They knew. They knew then.
Yeah, your family's not Mayflower? You're early doors, right?
I think so.
To use a football phrase,
yes.
Early doors is when the Rockwells got it.
Yeah, yes, I am Caucasian, yes.
Today's show is all about England 3, Norway 0 in the World Cup quarterfinal. I say that with some relish. Obviously, I'm an England fan and honestly have become more so throughout this tournament as I've gotten more familiar with the team and gotten to know them. This is the best performance I've seen from this team. In my short life as an England women's national team.
I mean, I saw them missing penalties. I saw them giving up chances. No, yes.
I mean, they are English.
Yes. No, I'm just trying to anticipate what some of your newspapers will do no matter what.
Oh, they'll celebrate.
Yeah, I would imagine they will.
Hopefully with more decorum than they celebrated the England-Cameroon win.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
Except for Daily Mail. I expect nothing from them.
Still waiting for all of these songs about England making the semi-final. I don't. When are those going to be launched? When's the Twitter sphere going to explode?
Probably tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think we get an It's Coming Home version?
We might get like England always make the World Cup semi-finals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I am not getting into the It's Coming Home debate again. I know where it comes from.
What are you talking about? Come on.
I'm not talking about it.
All right.
Let's talk about this game, though.
Let's talk about the song one more time. Okay, let's talk about this game. Because it did not quite go the way we expected. And I think part of that is because Norway did things? ?
They done it wrong.
They done it wrong, for sure. Yeah, because we've seen Norway find success in this tournament playing high intensity, high pressure. I think my nickname for them when I previewed them was like the Locusts because they swarm.
Their press is a swarm, and it makes it hard to play at the back and tough for you to have the ball. They
exactly.
did the opposite.
And today they were sleepy Locusts because they sat back a little bit and did not swarm. Instead, they tried to keep shape, I think, which maybe they just thought like, oh, this has worked against England historically, so we'll do it too, but we won't do it very well.
They tried to Iceland it.
And tried to
use
being the operative phrase there. Yeah, because England did a really good job of keeping the ball moving, not being slow on the ball, and not allowing the tempo to slow down, which is part of what you're trying to do. If you're trying to play a defensive 4-4-2 and sit back, you want
Which is what Norway were trying to do, just to be really clear. That was their plan. Defensive 4-4-2, mostly behind the halfway line.
Yeah. And then you want them to start putting their foot on the ball and slowing it down and looking for crosses and not keeping the ball moving. Instead, England, I mean, admittedly scoring, 3 minutes into the game helps with this?
Yeah.
But it was definitely a lot of passing and moving. It was a lot of 1 and 2, maybe sometimes 3 touches, but for the most part, it was quick touches, quick movement, try to pull Norway out of position, and they did it fairly successfully.
That 1 and 2 and 3 touch thing, I think I hadn't properly noticed it. I noticed that England were playing fast, and I was kind of happy about it. And I think you went back and rewatched stuff, especially from the first half, and counted the touches each player would have as England came out of the back, and it was always 1 to control, 1 to pass, 1 to control, 1 to pass. Like maybe an extra 1 to like change the angle or whatever. But no one was dwelling on the ball. No one put their foot on top of it and did the look around,
scan the horizon.
Yeah, no one scanned the horizon. Everyone just knew where they were going once they got the ball.
Yeah, the only players who I think would take more touches were the players who then finally did find themselves in space. So the one that I noted was 5 minutes 25 seconds in. Again, England already up, so that helps with it. But they're possessing on the kind of the right hand side of England's team, and it's again quick passing, and it ends up being played back to
no bagel.
It gets passed to Bright, who just has a one-touch swing to Stokes, and then Stokes takes a bunch of touches, but that's because now the entire left-hand side is wide open because Norway have been pulled over, and England basically, because of that little passing sequence that's probably about 30 seconds long, they then open up the entire left-hand channel, then they aggressively attack down there, and they end up getting a ball to the back post.
And I think, is this what you mean when you say Norway did the defensive 4-4-2 but weren't good at it? Because one of the things that a lot of teams who do the defensive 4-4-2 do, like say Diego Simeone team would definitely do this, is you crowd to one side, right? As in if England start going down the right, the entire Norway team shuffles to the left to crowd the 4-4-2 and make it really tight over there. But the trick is you've got to be fast to do it, because when the team gets down there, you've got to be fast to go close it down. When the team with the ball switches sides, you've got to be fast to shift your whole team over. And if you're not good at that and you're not fast doing it, you're in all kinds of trouble because you're just leaving a lot of space out wide.
Well, I agreed, but I do think that a huge part of this is the fact that, again, England score in the 3rd minute. And if your entire game plan is set up to sit back, let England have the ball, we're not going to chase them, we're not going to try to put pressure on them early, then suddenly, if that's your game plan and England score, you can keep doing that, but you could sort of see the moments of indecision from Norway where it was this feeling of okay, they've had the ball, we got to go try to do something. And so then 1 and 2 would step out, or 3 players would step out, but that's exactly what Norway don't want, England do want, because then they are starting to get more spread. Only in the second half, when Norway went back to the kind of swarming and pressuring, did they start to turn it around, and they end up getting a decent number of chances to start the second half.
But then England essentially counter on them after they get forward, right? Before we get into the goals, one thing I think is worth noting is what Norway tried to do when they had the ball. And at least in the few minutes before England scored that first goal, I noticed every time Norway got the ball, it was essentially, let's go direct. And it never worked out, right? They go for Hulfson or CGH, Caroline Graham Hansen, and essentially Houghton or Bright, the England centre-backs, would win it.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because if you're Norway, you expect we'll sit deep, England will send numbers forward, they'll keep committing numbers, and then we will have those long ball opportunities. So it felt like that was sort of what they expected to be on as the game moved forward. And then again, when you concede, maybe England aren't going to get as many numbers forward. They're not going to overcommit. There's a few times when Norway do get some counterattacks, but for the most part, it was England sort of being very smart in the way they went about this game.
And speaking of, I don't know if this is just me being a fan, but part of me thinks that the reason Norway ended up playing so many long balls from the back is good England pressure. Like Ellen White was always closing down angles, and then Duggan and Paris on the wings would sort of... I think I saw that White would go one side to direct pressure so that the centre-back has to pass to one side. But then if that's to Paris' side, she already knows that it's coming. So she's on it and she's then ready to put pressure on the player that receives the ball. And in the end, Norway get in so much trouble, they kind of have to go direct or they risk giving the ball away.
That's interesting because I also saw times when Ellen White didn't cut it off as well as I would like, because that is one of my weird things that I pay attention to, is how good the forward is at making sure that ball back to the center back isn't on. But even in those moments, what stood out to me was then it wasn't she's blown the entire game plan and now we're totally in trouble. It would basically be that she would just kind of calmly drop back in and kind of form a high line, and then England would kind of reset from there. So even when it was bypassed on occasion, it still felt like everybody kind of knew what to do in that moment. Contrast that with Norway, who it felt like were sort of, individuals have to make plays. Yeah. And as Norway showed...
Plan not working. Maybe Hansen will dribble at people?
Yeah. But it's also that, but once you have individuals trying to do a defensive job to make up for kind of, missteps in the system, that's where I think then suddenly this player stepping to that person but leaving their mark, so then somebody steps to that player but then that leaves their mark open, and suddenly you have somebody at the back post on mark.
I mean, you just described at least one of the goals, right? Yeah. Should we talk about the first goal?
Sure.
So it's scored by Jill Scott. There is, after the cutback that Jill Scott scores, it's going to Ellen White, and she swings at the ball, misses it, and it goes to Jill Scott.
And Daryl tried to argue it was intentional.
When I first saw it, because I think of Ellen White as such a high-quality player, I think there's no way that she swings and misses, right? This has to be part of some design dummy to open up space for Jill Scott. But the more we rewatched it...
she'll argue it was.
The more we watched it, she's going full power swinging at that, right? I think when you dummy, you normally fake the full power thing, and then you just kind of maybe just deftly open your legs and put some disguise on it. So there's no argument. There's no way to make an argument that she meant to do this, right?
I mean, you could try, but no, you would not succeed.
You'd be wrong.
But that almost makes it more impressive that Scott, not Bronze, is able to find the back of the net with this one, because she's put herself in a position to be there as the trailing run if something like this transpires, or maybe if Ellen White does decide to leave it intentionally. But because White is swinging so powerfully, you would forgive Jill Scott for thinking okay, this ball's not going to get to me. I'm kind of going to be on my heels, whatever.
Unless White just does this in practice a lot. She's I'm amazed that she scored all these goals. She keeps missing the ball.
Okay, that's an interesting wrinkle. I like that. But instead, White does miss it. But because I think Jill Scott is up on her toes and ready for it, when that ball comes to her, she's able to react quickly and just get a little bit of a deflection on it and puts it in far side netting.
Perfect reaction time, right? It goes in off the post, actually.
It does.
I want to talk a little bit about the build-up to this, though, to this first goal in the third minute, I think it is. You're better at the minutes than I am. My notes are not that reliable. It starts with Walsh, the English defensive midfielder / pivot. And as England are building out, she comes under pressure in midfield. She does a really good job to sort of move this way, move that way, and then play it back to Bardsley, the goalkeeper. And almost she gets England out of a little bit of trouble they were in so that they can reset and then build from the back again.
Indeed. Yeah. And then you do see, even though Ellen White has the missed kick that leads to the goal, here you see the other things that she's capable of. Obviously, she gets a goal later on, so she won't be too upset about this one.
Yeah.
But here, when Walsh drops it back to Bardsley, it's then a long ball. I don't think she's necessarily looking for Ellen White.
She's looking for Jill Scott, clearly, because she's the tallest player in midfield. And I think part of the England plan is if we can't build from the back, then, hey, how about a Jill Scott flick on?
But it ends up being a fortunate turn of events because I think the best Jill Scott's going to be able to do is flick it on, and Ellen White has dropped in to help. Yeah. So I think that ball ends up coming to nothing. But because Jill Scott can't get ahead to it, and Ellen White does adjust really quickly, she then is able to kind of settle.
So they both do it for each other within the space of a few seconds.
I can't remember if she chests it down or if she does like a controlled header almost. But regardless, because of the calmness of Walsh to kind of pull in some Norwegian players, drops it to Bardsley. Bardsley with good service because it's in the area of those two players who are able to bring it down. Now you've bypassed a significant number of the Norwegian players.
Packing
now
stat,
you have your chance.
I'm going to guess 6.
Yes, but I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
But it's also that I do think it was a problem that Norway here, again, we didn't see them swarming. Even though they went numbers forward, even though they tried to put Walsh under pressure, it wasn't somebody's on her, but then somebody else is coming in to make a secondary tackle and somebody else has covered the outlet. It was a sort of okay, I'll try. Okay, now I'll try. Okay, now I'll try.
The key thing is when Walsh lays it back to Bardsley, Bardsley's under zero pressure.
Exactly.
The real Locust team that we know Norway can be would be all right, we're on that next pass. And Herlufsen would be sort of slide tackling Bardsley into the back of the net.
Yeah, but because that doesn't happen and because this ball is able to get cleared and settled, now you have a very good attacking opportunity for England because it's White to Paris. Paris plays in Bronze, and
that's the killer combo in this whole game. To me, it's like Lucy Bronze down the right with Nikita Paris, either underlapping or overlapping each other. Like sometimes they were inside, sometimes they were outside of each other. I don't think Norway ever found out how to handle this.
No, I don't think so either. As evidenced by the fact that the second goal comes from right down this side as well.
Yeah, so it's also worth spotlighting. Once Bronze gets the ball, she essentially turns on the jets and accelerates. I can't remember who the left back that she goes past is.
Minda.
Was it Minda at the time?
I think so.
Bronze had her own Minda project. Accelerates to the end line. You think it's going out of play. She just cuts it back at the last second. It's kind of perfect. I
believe
Bronze.
Both Minda projects were equally well fated.
I like the Minda project, the original one.
I liked part of it until it was the same thing over and over again. Fair
enough.
You can only will they, won't they so many times before eventually they've got to do one or the other.
That's a hot take on the Mindy project.
Yeah.
Should we talk England's second goal, which comes in roughly the 40th minute?
Let's do it.
This time Ellen White connects with the ball and gets herself a goal.
She does. But again, we have some problems for Norway, including Minda once again being pulled out, because you basically have England creating overloads that I think Norway using the system. I think your idea was maybe they didn't get enough practice in kind of a deep lying 4-4-2.
Yeah.
So they didn't.
It's quite doing the thing they're not expert at, right?
Yeah,
I think
because you can see how if you're drilled in it and know exactly how to do it, then you know where you need to be at all times. So if Daryl has the ball, Daryl's slightly right of center, and I'm defending him, then I know that I need to be this X amount of yards away from the end line to block off this option. Know how you want to be playing, and if you go back and watch this, there's a lot of kind of miscommunication. I think in this case it's Minda and Savic.
Yeah, so the left back Minda and the left mid Savic, who essentially are tasked with dealing with Bronze right back overlapping and Paris right wing. Those are the two that should know where each other should be in relation to those two players. And I think in this move, you absolutely see that they don't. Neither of them know which one they're supposed to be with, and England absolutely exploit it.
Yeah, because again, as soon as you have one sort of saying oh no, you're supposed to go mark her, and I'm going to stay here, now that player goes, and that's exactly what happens. Is I think Savic tells Minda to step out, but it leaves, I think it's Paris unmarked. I might be wrong on that. It might be Bronze. But it's basically once you have somebody stepping and leaving a player, the thing with Norway is that it wasn't automatic as to who was then going to fill that other defensive role.
Yeah.
And so routinely it ended up being an England player kind of wide open in space. And oftentimes, it wasn't even because they had made a really smart run. It was just sort of somebody else made a run, Norway kind of panicked and went to cover that, and they were left standing there all alone.
What happens is eventually Bronze receives the ball with not much pressure because Savic and Minda don't know who's supposed to go to them. Then there's the confusion, so Bronze is able to put Paris in down the right. Paris dribbles into the box. She's gone past the left back, Minda. Torres' daughter, who's marking Ellen White, is now panicking because Nikita Paris, who's very dangerous, is in the box and danger, we're in trouble. So she starts to shift over towards Paris. Torres' daughter does, the centre-back. That leaves White open, so Paris is all right, I'll just square it to I'll square it to Ellen White, and Ellen White's going to score.
And further evidence
does it go through Torres' daughter's legs maybe as well? I think
it does, so two Megs in the first two goals. Just one was an England player making herself.
It actually means Torres' daughter got her angles right because she was in a position to cut off the pass from Paris to White. But then I think Paris got a little bit lucky by putting it through her legs.
But then also, so there's a little bit of luck there, but then again, it's Norway kind of panicking themselves because Mjelde, the other center back, you would then expect, okay, Torres' daughter is going to step out to Paris, so Mjelde comes over and covers Ellen White, who's obviously a huge threat in the box that you should want to defend.
Yeah.
But Mjelde,
despite what happened in the third minute.
Yes, despite that. But instead, Mjelde is looking at Kirby, who's run into the box, again, completely unmarked. And I think she thinks, it's going to be another cutback to the penalty spot. That's where Kirby is. So I'm going to step out a little bit to deal with that, which leaves Ellen White completely wide open.
And then, after White scores, she does the famous Anthony Modesta celebration, which her and her husband love, apparently. And she does the glasses directly at Nikita Paris, which I really like, a celebration that then acknowledges a teammate. Because it's like, I see you, or you saw me, one or the other. We see each other.
I see you saw me?
Yeah. Seesaw.
Yeah. And then we do see Norway change it up a little bit because we get to halftime. England still have the lead.
Unleash the locusts!
Yeah, and they do. And it does start to, I think, have an impact. I mean, they go right from kickoff and I think are aggressive and start winning the ball. They start getting chances. They start making England uncomfortable. We start seeing giveaways.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at, there's a 10-minute period from, the 60th to the 70th thereabouts where you do see Norway really causing problems for England and England causing some problems for themselves.
My notes for that period just say Brightmare.
Yeah. I mean, that's accurate and also well done. But I think it would have been a bigger issue, except that the thing we're skipping over is that by that point, it's 3-0. And I think if Norway had done this from the outset, I think maybe they were expecting England have game planned, so we'll throw a different look at them, and then maybe they won't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But instead, it was sort of no, we've game planned for you all to be very intense and high pressing. So we've been practicing playing fast. So if you're going to sit off and give us space, now we can play even faster, but with even more control.
I really think the Norwegian coach just got this one wrong. Right. Okay.
To be fair, he's Swedish coach, so I think it's probably because he's Swedish and not Norwegian.
He's
Swedish? That's the major issue.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
I've made that up completely, but yes, he is Swedish.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You probably wandered into a whole political.
I know I have. I'm fanning some flames.
Political nest.
I always love.
It's good. It's cold there.
I don't know why I say I always. I think it's because I have Norwegian cousins. Yes, it is cold there, and they're cold to each other. But I always enjoy do all the Scandinavians get along? Because people refer to it as a collective unit. And they're like, yeah, everybody likes each other except for the Swedes. It's usually. It makes me laugh. So yes, maybe it's their Swedish coach to blame. Maybe he was trying to make the team implode. He's a saboteur.
He kind of did a good job in this game.
He did.
We've got to talk about Lucy Bronze's goal, though. It's the third goal for England. It's Lucy Bronze receives the ball from a free kick at the top of the box, and we watched this several times because I was really curious about what is the technique on this, because this looks weird to me.
Hit ball hard?
Is it just hit ball hard?
I mean, no, but that's part of it for sure.
Well, I mean, what did you notice about what Bronze did that's basically what was not normal about it? Because it very much looked not normal to me.
I mean, there's very, very little follow-through, which I think is important because she's getting power behind it, but she's trying to take off some element of the spin.
How do you get power without follow-through?
I mean, that's how most Ronaldo hits his free kicks is he tries to hold his leg back.
I see.
Basically, you're just trying to not have much leg swing through because that increases rotation of the ball.
I see.
The less you give it, the more kind of knuckle lack of spin you're going to get on it. And I do think that if she had followed all the way through, you could even see that weird scenario where she almost double kicks the ball because the motion of bringing your leg all the way through makes the ball travel with it.
And maybe it lifts it a bit more. That might have gone over the bar, right?
Yeah.
She ended up going basically top roof of the net.
Yeah, because I think even though she doesn't get her hips completely over the ball, that's the other element here. Is if you want to shoot low, they say get your knee over it, but in my mind, that's an easier way of getting your hips over it, because if your knee's over the ball, it naturally makes your hips face down. It's kind of difficult to have your hips face up and your knee over the ball at the same time.
Yep.
And so she does that just well enough to keep the ball on frame. She leans back just a tiny little bit more. That ball's over the net.
Oh, it's a beautiful goal.
If
you don't mind, do you mind if we go through this goal backwards chronologically, reverse, counterclockwise?
Have at it, my friend.
We're going to do this.
I mean, it's coming home, so we may as well.
Anti-clockwise.
Do whatever you want.
Because it's English.
Because your people invented the game, so...
Thank you. I'm going to take all that literally, just like God Save the Queen, which worked. Again, she's fine today. So
that you know of, sir.
So the free kick, when it is taken, there's a nice bit of movement from, we believe, is it Walsh again?
It's definitely
something very, because you might be wondering, why is Lucy Bronze wide open at the top of the box? What are Norway doing? This ball from, I've forgotten who takes the free kick, but the ball. Was it Duggan, maybe?
No, it was...
Stanway?
No, it was the one who stepped on who I want to... Mead.
Okay, yeah, Mead. So this ball from Mead
Because I was about to say Miedema.
They play together for
exactly.
This ball from Mead to Bronze is not on. There is a Norwegian defender... Vold, who is blocking the path.
This might have been my favorite moment of the game, actually.
Oh, then please describe what
with all of the other, everything we've discussed, all the goals are really great. There's, funny moments, Ellen White, ha ha ha. But here, if you go and watch, so the fouls happened, the camera's behind the two England players who are getting set to theoretically take the free kick.
Yeah.
And you can see Vold off to your left if you're looking at the screen, because she is clearly tasked with marking whomever happens to be standing at the top of the box.
Yeah.
In this case, it's Lucy Bronze, but it's also Walsh who's up there. And that's what's really interesting to me is Walsh, then you can see her. She walks towards the 6-yard box, and Vold is trying to pay attention to her, but is also fairly desperately telling her teammates, someone needs to pick her up because I'm still marking this other person who's wide open.
She knows Bronze is there, right?
She does.
And also she knows that Bronze is Lucy Bronze, the Lucy Bronze, who has terrorized Norway this entire game.
That's actually what she says. She turns around and says, I'm marking the Lucy Bronze in Norwegian. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. What actually happens is she kind of turns...
What's Lucy Bronze in Norwegian?
Lucy Bronze?
Correct.
Yeah, you just say it with it's like Lucy Bronze. But she basically, I think, turns and says, somebody should pick up Walsh, essentially, and does the, I would say, almost subconscious thing of, this player's unmarked and walking towards my goal, so I'm going to kind of track them a little bit, and she starts walking backwards.
Yeah.
And then...
It's just like a drift, right? It's like an unconscious drift.
And then I think there's a moment when they all give her the, we're marked up, you got to deal with it.
Well, they're zoned, right? Are they just in the top
or
of the
6-yard
box? We're zoning. Yeah. We're zoning out.
But they say something that makes her think, I need to get goal side. So she then does try to get goal side of Walsh, but then realizes very quickly, wait, no, this is going to go short. But the key thing here is that all of this has pulled her about 10 yards away from her normal, her starting spot, which is literally where the ball is played, is where she was standing.
And that's why there's a wide open pass to Lucy Bronze, who can then smash it.
Master set piece theater.
It is master set piece theater?
Yep.
Yeah, it is, because not because of the bronze strike, but because of
that too.
Because of what Walsh does.
Yeah,
right?
you have to believe that they've rehearsed that one, that she's practiced striking a ball coming in at that angle, from that angle, at that distance.
And I promise reverse chronological order. I also want to talk about how England won this free kick.
You just want to talk about Lucy Bronze more.
I actually want to talk about Steph Houghton.
Okay.
Because there's a moment where it's a Norway attack, right? They have the ball in the 6-yard box. I think Houghton intercepts and is trying to clear it, but then realizes if she clears, she's blocked off. And so she's somewhat scrambling, but she manages to essentially turn away from a Norwegian attacker in her own box and just play a pass, still within the box, to Nikita Paris.
Yeah.
And then Nikita Paris takes someone on inside her own 18-yard box, which I think is a terrible idea at 2-0.
And it almost was.
And she almost was dispossessed, but I think she got lucky, right?
She hits it into the player that goes back into her and goes off of Nikita Paris and back in the path of Nikita Paris.
But because she gets lucky, and because Steph Houghton, she was calm under pressure, Steph Houghton, but she somewhat got lucky as well. England are away.
Yeah.
England have essentially the first counter-attack of the game, because mostly Norway have spent the first half not stretching themselves too far forward. Right?
Yeah.
And off we go. Then Nikita Paris has the very, very fast Lucy Bronze overlapping. She can give the ball to Bronze, who then gets brought down as she's trying to sort of go at someone on the right.
There was one really interesting moment before she gets brought down, which is once Lucy Bronze is maybe 10 yards past midfield in Norway's half, and she kind of evaluates, I think, at that moment and looks around and decides, maybe the pass isn't on, or maybe she doesn't want to risk themselves getting countered upon. Countering the counterattack is a very solid way to go about getting a goal.
It's a good way to get a bunch of space, right?
And I just enjoyed that in that moment she thought, nah, I'll have it. And so then she goes direct down the line, and I believe it's Engen who ends up having to overcommit and commit the foul.
Yeah.
Who then also does something very foolish, because I don't think it's a foul. The first contact, Engen comes in at an angle, gives Lucy Bronze a bit of a body, knocks her off a little bit. The ball kind of goes loose between the two of them, and Bronze kind of loses her footing and is trying to hold the ball up while she's still standing back up. And Engen, I think, it's still legal right up until, as she goes to poke it away, she kind of puts her hands on Lucy Bronze. And even if she didn't mean to, from the referee's vantage point and with Lucy Bronze trying to get back up and then falling back down, it 100% looks like she's just been shoved back to the ground so Engen can get the ball.
Yep.
And I don't even think that's necessarily what happened, but it's how it's always going to look, and Engen makes the referee make a decision.
Well, an even more obvious shove comes in the 80-something minute, early 80s.
It could have been worse for Norway.
For Norway. Tara's daughter in the box puts her forearm really aggressively into the back of Steph Houghton, gives England a penalty kick. Right? I mean, there's no argument about this penalty, right?
I mean, no. Exemplified by the fact that it doesn't ever even get referred to VAR. I'm sure they had a look at it, but it's one of those challenges of...
So they looked at it once and they were all like, yup.
I mean, yeah. I think so, because it's a challenge of... an era before VAR in my mind, where like maybe sometimes the referee misses that decision, but with VAR, that's 100% always going to be a penalty because it's not subtle. It's not a like, oh, it's just, sometimes there's contact in the box. Like Thorisdottir is absolutely just putting the elbow into the back of Steph Houghton to shove her out of the way of the ball because the ball's about to arrive.
Yep. Hammers her in the back.
Yeah, she does. Well done, sir. But didn't aim for the head, I guess is the problem. That sounds weird unless you know what we're referencing. But I think you're the one who pointed out that Thorisdottir also doesn't even look at the ball here. It's like she's just shoving Houghton out of the way.
It's pure shove. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's an absolutely deserved penalty kick.
But then ball does lie?
It does, right? Because Nikita Paris, I think we've seen put a penalty top left and been like, whoa, all right, Nikita Paris, very, very nice. This one is taken with the instep and it's mid-left.
That was borderline Borat, and I don't know how I feel about it.
What was?
You're like, very nice. Like you like almost hit it for a second there.
Not deliberately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
But it wasn't a very, very nice penalty.
It was not. It was not because she picks her spot, but it's not just about picking the spot, and that's a thing that I feel like I need to keep emphasizing because I oversimplified it with Megan Rapinoe, but it's about picking your spot, but that being the right spot, and then backing yourself that it is. Yeah. Because just picking a side is not a spot. And that sounds silly, but it's the truth. Because if you just pick left and hit hard, that gives the goalkeeper a lot of room to potentially make a save, and that's kind of what Paris does here. I would also say she insteps it, which removes some of the power automatically.
So it takes the pace off it, right?
Yeah, and
the first one I was talking about is I think it was Lace's top left corner, which is kind of unsavable if you get it on target. Yeah,
or Lace's bottom left corner, which is the Megan Rapinoe special.
Yes,
but here, it's instep and it's at like a height that is ideal for saving, as we have talked about before.
And USWNT makes the save.
Good pronunciation.
We got a tweet from Seattle, Scandinavia, who just sent us a reminder that when there's like an H and a J, I think you don't pronounce the H. Didn't we? So they were right to call us out because we got it wrong. I'm not asking people to call us out on all pronunciations.
Daryl at TotalSoccerShow.com. Send him all the pronunciations and he will totally read them all.
Isn't the email address we're trying our hardest at TotalSoccerShow.com?
I feel like you might have actually set that up.
But we talked about this before the last Norway game, and I think one of us, and it's probably me, completely forgot what we talked about and started doing the Hjelmsmed.
I think we both did accidentally.
Okay.
Yes. It's tough.
We're a bad influence on each other.
Yes, because then it's like you go overboard. It's like Elofsson. And it's like, what? Why are you yelling at me? I don't understand.
You blow out the mics on every single Scandinavian pronunciation.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah. Sorry, listeners.
I didn't mean you. I meant the royal you, which is we.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, God save the Queen. Hjelmsmed with the save.
Save her good.
Which isn't a bad way to end her tournament, despite going out 3-0. She'll have this memory. The last thing I did at the World Cup was I saved a penalty.
All right, but for real,
yeah.
When you hear, do you think that whomever is up there, all right, fine, I'll save her again.
Yeah.
But do you think that
you need a reminder sometimes? It's a thing that you've had to do for 60 odd years. At some point, you might need a reminder.
All right, but seriously, are you in your mind? Are there assassination ninjas just all over London, and each day there has to be an attempt that's thwarted?
Yeah, it's struck by lightning, or a gust of wind mysteriously blows them off the roof they were creeping up on. Yeah.
I don't mean this to be harsh, but I feel like this is how maybe you were a serf in a past life. Is that they were just keep praying to things and everything will be okay, buddy.
England is a magical land. England is a magical land.
Yes, sure. If you're of the landed aristocracy, yes it is.
Yeah, that's definitely true. One of them is about to be Prime Minister. So, England are through to the World Cup semi-finals once again, where they will play either the US women's national team or France. Either way, a cracking game.
Wait, can you say that again? The two teams?
They will play either the US women's national team or France.
Boo.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, cool.
So
that's my job as an American.
That's going to be an exciting game. In the second half of today's show, we're going to preview that quarterfinal.
Sure are.
USWNT, as nobody actually calls them out loud. Everyone just writes it, versus France. But first, today's show is sponsored by the thing that Taylor's putting around his neck right now, roughneckscarves.com. Is that a roughneck you're wearing?
It is indeed. It's the Refugees Welcome roughneck scarf. That we're part of the fundraiser, but still a custom roughneck scarf that you can get custom designed if you want to.
Yes.
But they also have many U.S. soccer, U.S. women's national team scarves. So if you want to get kind of geared up for, obviously, when the United States makes it past France and you want to have a scarf for the semifinal, for the final, and for when they emerge victorious once again, then you can do so by going to roughneckscarves.com.
I'm going to walk our listeners through it as well, because I just did it. You put the scarf on, I put it up on my iPad.
I think it's on my head now.
I didn't have a scarf. Yes, it is.
I'm not sure how that happened.
It's an interesting look. Yeah. So you go to roughneckscarves.com. If you click on the drop-down menu, shop for scarves, you will see featured scarves, MLS, US men's national team, US women's national team. I think in this case we're going to be clicking on US women's national team because that's what we're about to preview. And then you are presented with options. I had to wave my finger 4 times to get to the bottom of the screen.
Such are the options?
Such are the options,
all right.
Yeah.
What I really wish had happened is you had turned this into some weird avant-garde, like, comedy thing where it's like, okay, it says I need to update. I'm going to just check the updates real quick. I don't know if this is a normal thing for Roughneck. And then you just went through the entire process of like updating your iPad system.
I waited an hour while the new iOS installed and then crashed. Yeah.
Yes.
So there is, for example, the Megan Rapinoe scarf, number 15. It doesn't have any pink on it. It's got red and blue, though. It looks really good. The Lindsay Horan scarf, which we don't know if Jill Ellis would buy or not.
We don't, but we hope she will.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there needs to be a Megan Rapinoe like White House Pink House sort of scarf. I feel like I need that in my life. I would like that to happen. If Roughneck Scarves can make that happen,
that is magnificent. Yeah. So if you would like a US Women's National Team scarf, please go to roughneckscarves.com and please save yourself 20% and give us the credit for you going there by using the discount code Total Soccer Show, all one word.
Those are of equal importance.
Yes, I mean, if we're honest, yes. Total Soccer Show for 20% off at roughneckscarves.com.
Thank you very much to Roughneck Scarves for sponsoring today's show, for allowing me to wear a scarf on my head, because apparently I don't know how scarves work.
I'm not sure if Roughneck approve what you're doing.
I'm sure they're fine with it. You wear it however you want to wear it.
I'll show you.
And I'm sure many American fans will be out wearing many different types of, hopefully, Roughneck scarves for the USA's game against France. So should we talk about that?
Shall we? Yes, is the answer. Yes.
All right.
Let's do that, because it's in the title, so people are expecting it.
That's probably
also,
true, yes.
It's the biggest game of the World Cup so far.
Oh, is it? I hadn't heard.
People have made a big deal about this game being a big deal.
They have.
Which is like a weird, like, what's the word, solipsistic thing? But it is. This is the 2 of the top 3 teams in the world meeting in the quarterfinal, which is the unluck of the draw.
Yes. I mean, it's definitely a bummer, especially since things went as they're expected to, which isn't always the case at the World Cup. Usually there is that, like, it's going to be Brazil, Germany in the round of 16 if all goes to plan, and
this time
things don't go to plan.
It was Italy winning the group, right?
Yeah.
Is the one weird thing. But the US and France win their group, not unexpected. And then winning their round of 16 games, not unexpected.
Not unexpected.
Okay, so we're not going to really make predictions, right? Because honestly, this is a game that could go either way. France are a really good team. France are hosting. The US are a really good team, but we still have all those question marks, like about like is this going to work? Have we like been too confident about this? Do we have enough of a defensive shape? All that kind of stuff. Yep. This is where it all gets tested. I'm thrilled to watch. I'm like nervous as a US fan and excited to watch it.
Yeah, you're nervited or something like that. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's a fair way to be, and I think you should be, because it's a very strong U.S. women's national team.
Yeah.
We've talked about them many, many times, but as you said, it's a very strong French women's national team.
Yep.
And there are reasons to be afraid of them. There are maybe a few reasons to be optimistic, or a few reasons to like think, oh, the United States could get at that, or could maybe create this problem, but so too could France. All
right. So as we #get invited, let's maybe think about what we're facing in France. So some of the real basics. What sort of shape do we think they will go with? Because they've mixed it around a little bit throughout this tournament, right? I've seen a 4-2-3-1. I've seen a 4-4-2. What are you expecting from the French national team in this game?
I mean, I'll go with a thing that you very much just hit upon there, which is the back 4, for sure. We do not expect them to bring out a surprise back 3, back 5.
Right.
My guess would be that we see something close to a 4-2-3-1 or some form of like a 4-3-3. Okay. Just because we would expect the United States to be in their kind of accustomed 4-3-3, I should say.
Customized 4-3-3.
Yeah, that's true, but sounds weird. And it does feel like France are a team that are like to match what the other team is doing. So if they're in a 4-4-2, maybe France will move into a 4-4-2, 4-3-3.
That's what they did against Brazil, right? Yeah. France went 4-4-2 against Brazil, I think, because Brazil went 4-4-2. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think because France have a history, or at least in January, of beating the United States playing a 4-2-3-1 when the United States was in their 4-3-3.
Okay, so that 4-2-3-1 when France beat the US in January, you said. I was distracted during that time. So is the two defensive midfielders? Was it Amandine Henry and someone else alongside her? Busalia. Okay, so both of those players are present and correct. So we could expect that.
I mean, you could pretty much do everything else in this one. A little confusing was that Grige and Bock, the other center back, wasn't in that game. It was Wendy Renard. It was a lot of the other names that we've become very familiar with this tournament.
Because the thing that moves for me the most in terms of throughout this tournament, I've seen the thing change the most is the French attack. Like for example, Cascarino Cascarino started the tournament on the right, and she's been replaced, right?
She started this game on the right as well.
Oh, okay. So Cascarino on the right. Who was on the left? Eugène Le Sommer, or was she as a striker?
Sommer.
Le Sommer on the left. The striker would be Gianni.
Mm-hmm.
Gianni, interesting.
And Tine is the number 10.
Tine is the number 10. Okay, so here's what I think. There's a chance that France, if they feel conservative, might be like, all right, Tine's an experienced and talented player, but it's somewhat of a luxury to play in number 10. What if France just went straight up 4-3-3 and they just added an extra, more defensive central midfielder to that shape because they're worried about going up against the US's midfield three?
I mean, I could see that, like, from the way you've explained it, making sense.
Yeah.
The thing there is, in my
Bilbao,
mind,
I guess, would be the third, right?
Yeah. But I think in that case, you are sort of, by doing that, making clear that you are letting the United States control the game.
Yeah.
Because if you're taking out...
You're being beta.
One of your most... well, yes, I guess, yeah. But, like, you're the one who's adjusting. Yeah, you're the one who's sort of... In the negotiation where you're both being silent, waiting for the other one to speak first, you're the one who says... I am declining to speak first, so that the other one will start, but you've then spoken. And I think that would be that. It's like, if you take off an attacking player, Michael Scott did that. If you take off an attacking player and put on a defensive midfielder, and especially one of your key attacking players, to me that means we're going defensive so you all can know that and go at us a bit more.
Yeah.
But then maybe that could be a feint, who knows? But I think with that in mind, I would be surprised if that happened. I do think we probably see Tine as more of a number 10.
Okay.
And I do think we see her start.
All right, so let's work on the assumption then. I'll trust
Sure.
you. 4-2-3-1 is the way to go. What are the French threats within that 4-2-3-1? Like, let's do a quick bullet point list of things to be nervited about.
I mean, Eugène Le Sommer is one of my favorite players in this tournament. Majri being the other, like that aren't American players.
And that's a combo, right? So the bullet point is France's left side.
Pretty much, yes, because Le Sommer is more than capable of causing problems out wide on her own, but then will also go central and sometimes be a secondary striker because Amel Majri, the left back, will get so high up the field.
Yep.
And then you've got kind of overloads, but then mismatches in the middle that the United States has to find a way to be flexible enough to deal with.
And then Majri getting forward is the most dangerous thing, right?
Yes.
Because her crosses, she might be the best crosser in the
I
tournament.
believe she has the most assists of any player on the French team.
That is. I'll bet she got the most assists of any left back. Maybe we'll come back to that and how the US deals with it. We'll do this with all these bullet points, right? Okay, the thing I remember from the last game is Gianni, Diani, Gianni. She started up front, but she kind of drifted to the right wing throughout the game against Brazil. If she straight up starts on the right-hand side of a 4-2-3-1, we are looking at a very dangerous right winger because she has all kinds of ideas and moves and a bit of acceleration to get away from people. Do you remember the spin move she did against Brazil and get down the line? So absolutely just Gianni coming at you down the right is a dangerous, dangerous thing. And again, maybe not quite as much as Majri, but Torrent, the right back, she is not afraid to get forward.
She certainly is not. Yeah. No, so I mean, I think you'll see attacks on both sides from a variety of players.
With nervousness and excitement.
But this game in January, you should be. This game in January was the game where I kind of, like, Cascarino first came on my radar, and then has been there since because of how threatening she looked. She gets a goal in this game. I think she may have had an assist as well. Or no, excuse me, she didn't get a goal. She gets an assist in this game, but was like a threat throughout. Gianni got a brace against the United States.
Okay.
And I say that just to say that I wouldn't be so surprised if we do see Cascarino return to the lineup. It would be a surprising decision, but I think Galvin has been excellent. But the
striker?
Yes, but the question about France, or about the United States kind of consistently through this tournament has been how well organized is the defense, how are they fast enough, can they handle some pressure? And I think the faster France are, the more the US might struggle. I think they can handle a player like Galvin a little bit easier, who is going to be bigger and more hold-up play oriented.
So you think they maximise pace by maybe having Gianni as the centre forward and then also Delphine Cascarino as the right winger?
Or Assayi, I think, is the other one that's been getting minutes in this tournament. So, yeah, they've got many options. I'm not even saying I think that's like what they'll do, but I also, because they may do a variety of things, I would feel confident that they'll have three midfielders. Aside from that, it might be any number of personnel.
But one of the three midfielders may be Tine.
Yes.
As a more number 10
That'd be my guess,
player. Okay, we're going to talk Amandine Henry.
Sure.
She's just in control.
Yep.
And that's what scares me, is that if someone's going to take over this game, I feel like it could be Amandine Henry just picking out smart passes left, right and centre.
Yeah.
And then making late runs into the box as she did against Brazil to score the winner.
Also that. Yeah, she is the metronome. She's like the Ringo Starr, I guess, if we're going to go like with that analogy of like she's the one who's going to keep everything moving. She might not be...
He wasn't even the best drummer in the Beatles.
That's an apocryphal statement. Get out of here. You knew that was going to push my buttons. But I say that it's not as though everybody else is like a big personality and she's this under the radar one that people don't want to sing.
She's the captain.
Yes, she is very much front and center for this team, but I mean it more so as she's the one who keeps it moving. She's probably not going to beat you with pace, and she's not going to do a bunch of step overs and get by you, but she'll be the one.
She'll make sure to give it to someone who can.
Yes, exactly. But she'll do so by like quick pass, and then suddenly she splits 3 defenders and plays the ball into space that you didn't see coming.
So what does that mean? We don't just watch out for her doing that? I guess as a viewer, you just that's a thing to be aware of. Watch France's number 6, I believe, Amandine Henry.
Yeah, I mean, certainly do that. I would say like if we're kind of shifting in that direction, like it's almost similar to what I was saying. Like if France put in 3 defensive midfielders, you kind of know that they're changing what what they want to do because they're afraid of the United States. I think if the U.S. becomes...
They're speaking first in the negotiation.
Yes. And if the United States is overly focused on Amandine Henry and has her like marked the whole game or is...
Quadruple marked.
Yeah, like I think then...
Which might be the only way to stop her.
It might be, but I think then you're showing your hand because you're overly focused on a player who, again, I don't mean this to be... like she is the player that I think is one of the best players in the world. I would absolutely draft her onto my team, which we may do at the end of this tournament.
Yes!
But I don't think she is the one that you have to be like afraid of right away. I think the smarter thing is to make sure that she just keeps the ball moving, but that France aren't able to do anything with the players that are more inclined to be like deadly in front of goal.
I see.
So I think if you can say put Eugene Le Sommer under pressure as soon as she gets that ball from Amandine Henry, that's the one that I would feel more comfortable with.
Excellent. I also feel a little bit more comfortable because now I know when we do the draft, you already I know part of your priority list and you know none of mine.
Your priority list is just the English team, I'm pretty sure. So
I guess I've probably tipped my hands about Lucy Bronze, right?
Except I know you and I know that you're going to draft an Argentinian player in there somewhere because you'll be guilty enough about saying they weren't going to do anything that you'll try to make up for it by drafting one of them. Putting in your head now.
Maybe one other big threat from France is, I mean, literally Wendy Renard.
True.
Wendy Renard on set pieces, or if she ever gets into the box. We have players who are great in the air. We don't have a player who can compete with Wendy Renard in a straight ball is in the air, who gets to it first kind of challenge.
We don't.
We have players who are savvy and can give her a hip check and can bounce her around, but we don't just have, we'll put this player on Wendy Renard and all will be fine.
And I agree with you, and I think this is where I say that I would very much like to see Lindsay Horan start this game, because I do think Horan has the like competitive fire of that. Like you may be bigger than me, but you're not going to beat me. And I think I would happily have her match up against Wendy Renard. Then you have Grégoire Bock, who's also very good in the air.
Renard's fellow centre back.
And then maybe also Galvin as another like fairly tall attacker as well. So the United States will probably need to find a way to deal with that on set pieces.
Concede no corners.
Yeah, there we go.
That would be the plan.
Yes.
Concede no corners. Okay, how about if we talk about how the US could deal with some of these threats, right? All right, we started with Majri, right? Can you stop Majri getting forward? Like she's going to be up against, say, Kelly O'Hara might have a tough job, right? Because Kelly O'Hara's got to think about Eugenie Le Sommer and what she does on the left. And when she comes inside, Kelly O'Hara has to pass her on to her fellow defenders, right? She'll say, hey, Becky Sauerbrunn, hey, Dalkamper, please pick up Eugenie Le Sommer as she comes past me. But then you've got like, the second wave coming, which is Majri, she's pretty quick, she'll get past you, she's got some skills and a little bit of space, and she'll bend in a dangerous cross.
Yes, so that then maybe it becomes incumbent on Tobin Heath to make sure she's always dropping back. But
I don't know enough about Tobin Heath's defensive game to know if that's something we should be worried about. But I will say I don't think of her as someone whose priority is tracking back and defending.
No, and I think maybe that right there is the answer. Because I do think that we've seen Tobin Heath struggle to really like stamp her authority on games in this competition. She drew the penalty against Spain, but aside from that, really struggled in her take-ons and in some of her passing and movement. Yeah. And I think that's because everyone is aware of Tobin Heath and teams game plan to defend Tobin Heath.
Yeah.
The way they do that is by keeping their fullbacks back and keeping numbers on that side. And even if she gets by one, there's somebody there to put that fire out. If that left back is more so focused on bombing up the field and getting involved in the attack, that's a lot of space for Tobin Heath, who is, for the first time in this tournament maybe, doesn't have somebody fully focused on defending her at all times.
That's right, because someone whose priority is to get forward.
And
so, okay, here's my plan. We use that Abby Dalkamper ball a lot.
I think that's the way to do it.
Anytime Majri gets forward, assuming the US wins the ball back, I would argue hit that space that Majri just left for Tobin Heath and make her keep thinking about it. Make her keep worrying about it, and then maybe she'll be a little bit more reticent to get forward.
I will be shocked if the first ball, that first long ball that the United States plays, doesn't go to Tobin Heath. Because I think, because my guess would be that the the United States, you want to remind France that Tobin Heath is Tobin Heath and is very dangerous, and maybe, just maybe, get in the head of Amel Majri that, hey, if you bomb forward, that's on every single time. And maybe that keeps her back a little bit more, or maybe it makes like the French defense slide over, or maybe Henri or Boussalia stays back a bit more. And
I was going to say, that might be a thing to watch for. Is we might go too deep down this tactical rabbit hole, but these are two of the key players to the game.
I mean,
Heath and Majri.
We know what we are. We know what the show is.
It could be that France have a plan for Majri gets forward, but this player covers that hole, right? It could be Boussalia. Yeah.
It could be. But I think right there, though, is like, then you can adapt to that, because if it is Majri still getting
midfield?
Exactly. Yeah. Then that's one fewer players that you have to worry about. So maybe Tobin Heath stays high, and one of the central midfielders for the U.S. now goes and covers Majri a little bit more because Boussalia is dropped in.
Okay.
Like, if you make France make changes based on what you're trying to do, you're still making them make changes, and then they're no longer able to do exactly what they want to do in terms of their game plan.
Okay, we also see with the threat of Gianni, say, coming down the right, whether she actually starts there or not, or say it's Delphine Cascarino. Essentially, a winger with a lot of pace and a lot of ideas and an absolute threat we need to be worrying about. I think this is the biggest test of the Crystal Dunn at left back. Experiment's the wrong word, because it's a thing we're just definitely doing, right? The Crystal Dunn at left back hypothesis, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Because every time we've seen the US dominate a game, the big bonus is Crystal Dunn gets forward and is an extra winger in the attack, and you're able to essentially have Rapinoe and Dunn. And honestly, then Rapinoe and Dunn become the Les Omer and Majri of the United States, right? But in this case, we have the problem on our side where we have a really dangerous winger, whether it's Cascarino or Gianni, going at Crystal Dunn. And we'll find out, does Crystal Dunn have the 1v1 defensive skills to handle an elite right winger?
Yeah. The left side of France...
We already know Megan Rapinoe can handle elite right wingers.
We do know that.
Elite's in a very different
elite's
sense.
A word.
Yeah, well, none of the words are compliments.
True. I would say the French left side is the side that I think is more frightening and has more skill and ability.
Yeah.
It's the right side that actually scares me more in this game for the reasons that you've just mentioned.
Because of Crystal Dunn,
But also because of Megan Rapinoe, to be totally honest, because... Megan Rapinoe has been great for the United States. I would say she has not been great in this tournament. She has had 2 bad games in a row at this point, a lot of which has been her trying to...
Bad is harsh, just like not Rapinoe level like magic games.
Okay, yeah. But I think has been similar to Tobin Heath, hasn't been as successful as we would like to see in some of her take-ons, and has had moments of frustration, and I then also worry about the fitness of is she going to be tracking back aggressively as well? Because I do think Crystal Dunn is going to need help. I think she will need support, and so that
Torrent could join in, right? So you could get double teamed.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the side that I think the United States will be maybe more concerned about, maybe keeping the ball away from that side and attacking down their right. Similar to what, who did we see do that? Norway, maybe, against Australia, was it? Where they steadfastly refused. Yes, and maybe we see the United States do something similar. So I think we'll see probably a lot more Tobin Heath, both because of attacking opportunities, but also maybe as a preventative defensive approach too.
That makes sense. So what do we think? Just go back to the Dunn versus Gianni thing in terms of a 1v1 battle, or Dunn versus Cascarino. It's going to be one of those two, probably. There's a third option, right? What have we seen from Crystal Dunn in the past that gives us either confidence or concern?
I think, number one, we know that Crystal Dunn is an incredible athlete, so can happily compete with attackers when it comes to a foot race.
I've seen her make up for some, not mistakes, but when she's got forward and then balls get put in behind, she makes up the ground and is able to get back in defensive position and then disrupt that play.
Yes.
So, that's a bonus. But that may not be such a bonus when someone like Gianni is 20 yards ahead of you.
Right. And then also, though, you want a person in that situation when they are tracking back, if they are sort of in a 1v1 battle, you want them to have natural defensive instincts. And Crystal Dunn is a natural attacker. She does not play left back at club level, nor does she really ever play that. So outside of playing for the United States. And so that would be my issue is what happens when Crystal Dunn is in theoretically good defensive position, because we've seen the United States be kind of tucked in at times. What happens when she has to go out and deal with Gianni or Cascarino or whomever out there in a 1v1 scenario? I would be slightly nervous, and I would be especially nervous if France do try to overload that side as well.
Ooh, yeah, and what I've seen in the past, I've seen Dunn win those defensive battles, but it's been against inferior players, right? Against Thailand, against Chile, maybe Sweden's a bad example, and I think she essentially wins that battle because she's just an all-round better soccer player than the right winger she's going up against, right? So it's not even a contest. She's just winning that ball because she's hyper-competitive and she's winning that ball. But again, it's different when it's Gianni. And I guess what we're driving at here is we don't know what happens. We're essentially going to find out in this game.
We are.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, that gives me slight hesitation about Crystal Dunn is that when you're an attacker, you have a bit more freedom when it comes to losing the ball, basically, because there's an expectation. You're going to try stuff. You're going to take people on. You're going to be trying to make something happen, but you're doing it far away from goal. And I think against Sweden, we saw that one moment we talked about on the show where she was her first touch was a little heavy. And then I think she scrambled to make up for it, and it ends up getting poked away from her.
Back pass,
I think so. And that's the other thing for me is that Crystal Dunn, now as a defender, where she's not necessarily as comfortable as she would be if she were playing a more attacking position, I think maybe there's just a bit more thinking. It's less automatic of what you do because there's always that awareness of if I mess up this pass, they could be in behind me. And so just that moment of hesitation, that moment of self-doubt can be problematic as well.
Okay, let's hope Crystal Dunn's feeling confident going into this game then. Because
Mm.
it's almost like the whole Jill Ellis-Dunn at left-back experiment could be judged on this game, right? On how it goes. Okay, what other threats did we talk about? We talked about Wendy Renard in the air.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Wendy Renard defending. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. We send a bunch of crosses in. Like Megan Rapinoe can whip in a beautiful ball.
Yep.
Wendy Renard's probably winning that, right? Mbach's perfectly capable of winning it, but Wendy Renard is very likely to win it in the air, right? Kelly O'Hara gets down the wing, sends a cross in. Wendy Renard's heading it away. Tobin Heath beats a fullback, chips a cross in. Wendy Renard's heading it away. And I'm essentially building a case here that what the US should do is maybe what Real Madrid did to Juventus in Zidane's first Champions League final when they knew that Chiellini and Bonucci would head everything away that goes in. Aim low, get low balls. Low balls into the box are going to be much more successful against Renard and Bach. Partly because you're not winning the high balls, Renard's winning the high balls. But we went back and looked at the 2 goals that France conceded. Both of them were low or medium low balls in. One of them, Renard, is an own goal because she's facing her own goal and she isn't able to deal with the low ball in. The other one was what Renard tries to clear. This is against Brazil. It's a medium height cross. She tries to clear, but she clears it directly to Teysa, who then scores for Brazil.
And she tries to clear. It's a low driven ball that she's trying to get on the end of, and Brazil just can't make a solid of a play she would like.
And I'm not making the argument that Renard's a bad defender. I'm just saying she's too good in the air to even try it, so your best bet is to go low.
And the United States has...
Opposite of Michelle Obama.
Yes, exactly. The United States has precedent here as well because in the pre-World Cup friendly against New Zealand that they ended up winning 5-0, it takes them a while to score a goal because they're trying to kind of go at New Zealand, but New Zealand are crowding the middle, making that difficult. So then they go wide and they start crossing the ball in, but they don't have the personnel in the box to win those aerial challenges. The first goal comes from, I believe, it's Megan Rapinoe, whips a ball in low between the goalkeeper and the back line. Tobin Heath runs on and finishes it. Yeah. That's the exact type of ball I think we're going to be looking for, is that sort of ball, not necessarily from the end line, but kind of whipped in, like stretching the back line and then kind of into space for another attacker to run onto.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of key to getting goals from wide positions.
All right, and then how about this for a segue? When she sends those low balls in, if they are sort of deflected out, it's going to be all about one of the 3 midfielders being there, maybe coming in late to crack a shot from the top of the box. The big question, as it always is with this current version of the US Women's National Team, which of the 4 magnificent central midfielders are going to start in the 3 midfield spots?
Yes. So I think it always confuses me when you say it because you say which of the 4 will start in the 3, and I'm like, they can't all. But I know that's what you're asking, but it's a weird construction for me in my head for a moment. To answer your question, my guess is that it will be either Sam Mewis or Rose Lavelle is the one who doesn't see the starting 11.
Why those 2? Is it because Julia Ertz is so important as defensive mid and Lindsay Horan is probably our best midfielder?
Yes. That's it right there. Yeah. So it comes down to Mewis or Lavelle. And I really don't know what Jill Ellis will do. I think basically whichever one starts will be very indicative of the United States' approach because Rose Lavelle is the one that we've talked about, and I think Jill Ellis has talked about as being key. Caitlin Murray certainly has on this show as being the key, like the number 10 who can unlock a locked defense, who can find those little spaces and take people on from a central position.
Oh, we saw the moment she had against Spain where she weaved, opened them up, and played that perfect through ball to Rapinoe that I think would have been the goal of the tournament had it come off.
Yeah, and I think Sam Mewis can certainly play a pass, can find the space, can find the channels.
Can hit a shot.
Yeah, but I think of her as being, maybe it's just because she's bigger than Rose Lavelle, I think of her as a stronger defensive presence, but I do also think that she has done a little bit more work with the kind of going into challenges, into the slide tackles, and I think of her as a more... Not even that she is defensive, but just of the 2, I think of her as a more defensive option in midfield.
I think she's got a more rounded game in terms of attack and defense, but then Rose Lavelle has just that bit of magic that no other no other player has. And I think the question then for Jill Ellis is, do you trade off that bit of magic for a bit more midfield solidity? And honestly, if it was me, I would take that slightly more conservative option, because then you can always bring Rose Lavelle off the bench. You can bring the magic, you can make the magic happen later in the game.
Yeah.
You turn to Rose Lavelle and you say, this is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Then you sub her in.
So I guess I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a mistake to not start Rose Lavelle. I think I personally would. Yeah. But I think it then is about like what it gives you insight into what the United States is trying to do, that they're not going to be quite so focused on possessing the ball in France's defensive third or in their half and moving the ball and finding space. It will be a bit more smash and grab and play physical through the middle and look to attack on the wings.
Ooh, okay, what about France's approach, right?
Can I actually? But can we stick with the middle for a second there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think so.
We can, Malcolm.
We thank you. We both mentioned that we assume it will be Julie Ertz, and Julie Ertz has been, an incredibly good player for the U.S. Women's National Team.
Yeah,
I don't even think there's a but. But but there is, I guess. But my concern was just a few times in the Spain game, we know that she gets so up for it. You can see it in all the goal celebrations. You can see it when she's picking her teammates up. She is amped up. We saw her yelling at the female referee. You could hear it from the mics. Ma'am, ma'am, ma'am. She wanted to talk to her. She gets emotionally up for it, but I think that also goes into her game, that we'll see her go into challenges. She's going to be physical. She's going to be aggressive in the air. She wants to win the ball. But a few times against Spain, that was to her own detriment, because she would go bombing out to try to get to a player.
Yes.
And it would just be, when Spain had the more technical players, I think Hermoso was the one that's come to mind, was like, it was just a quick 1-2 and Julie Ertz was bypassed.
Yeah.
But if she is that sort of if she takes it upon herself to go out and make these defensive plays and make these big tackles and put France under pressure, they have the technical ability to pass right around that.
Yeah.
So that would be a potential strength, but also a potential vulnerability for the U.S.
So are you hoping Julie Ertz, is still Julie Ertz, hyper-competitive, win everything, but maybe she's just a bit more judicious about thinking, what are the risks if I don't make this giant tackle I'm about to go through as they charge through the middle?
Exactly. Yep.
So maybe she just needs a little bit more of the Michael Bradley defensive crouch occasionally, as opposed to the thing that we love seeing, which is Julie Ertz sliding in at full force to win the ball.
Yeah.
Because one time she might miss, and that might be the time that France go past us.
Yes.
So slightly more conservative Julie Ertz.
Maybe.
Yeah, not
maybe,
politically.
Well,
but,
yeah, I know what you mean. But also, that might also be the fact that Lindsey Horan wasn't there. And maybe that is with no Lindsey Horan to also do the kind of midfield destroyer work that sometimes needs to be done. It all then falls on Julie Ertz, and maybe she then overcompensates for it.
Yes. So that'll be a thing to look out for. How aggressive is Julie Ertz versus how much is she a little bit careful, sensibly careful.
Yes.
The thing that I wanted to talk about was what France do in terms of pressing. And I might be wrong, and it might just be that they've been the dominant team and had the ball in most games. I haven't really seen them put on any sort of high press.
No, not that I can recall.
Yeah.
I think they're capable of doing it. I don't think they'll do that against the United States, because that leaves them stretched and open and vulnerable to counterattacks.
Right.
So I would expect to see them more so sitting back, winning the ball, then being aggressive, getting it forward.
Yeah.
But then
not sitting back too deep, though, right? I'm thinking mid-block, hard to play through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then I think what we've seen from France is a sort of two-pronged attacking approach, which is either direct to goal, not always just one player drives and gets a shot off, but 2 to 3 players getting forward as soon as the ball is won, try to create something when the opposition defense is in transition. If that doesn't happen, that's when you see the sort of late arriving runs from Majri or Amandine Henry. And so those are the kind of two-pronged attacking approach that I would expect, is aggressive, trying to get in behind quickly and often, but if that doesn't happen, then recycling possession and slowing it down to kind of probe for opportunities.
And pressing-wise, what about the US? Do you expect, if Renard and Mbappe are passing the ball back and forth, do you expect to see Morgan running them down and the midfielders popping up to also do the same thing?
No.
Are we gonna go for it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It will be, I think it was 91 degrees against Spain. It's expected to be 86 degrees against France. Megan Rapinoe said, this is 30 degrees cooler than any NWSL game we play for about 5 months straight. So she's saying the temperature won't be a factor. I think it will.
Yeah.
And I think you
also don't play as many games back to back as you do.
Yeah, this is true. Yes. And even with the United States resting some players in the group stage and rotating a little bit, I still think...
Sorry, I said that wrong. You play more games back-to-back at the World Cup.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knew. We're all good. I would be worried about the United States, especially with some of the personnel that we think might be out there, trying to chase France down and put them under pressure all the time.
Yeah.
Exemplified by...
Lindsey Horan, she'll be ready to go.
She will be. But the name you mentioned there, that I don't think this is intentional. I think Megan Rapinoe is going to talk about what she wants to talk about, and I think she's been asked a lot about the national anthem and about not going to the White House and about her thoughts on the president. And I think all of that is like, normal media like coverage, and they want a person to talk about, and
it's
she'll
a big
be
narrative, right?
But like it is interesting to me that with all that, we have not had a word about Alex Morgan, who got kicked all over the place by Spain. I thought looked a little bit injured, looked a little bit like off the pace. I don't know if that was because she was kicked so often that she was just physically drained, or if she was just kind of tired. But she did not look as sharp against Spain as we both would have liked. And there hasn't been, I don't think they were even asked in the press conference, what's Alex Morgan's status? So with that in mind, I would expect her to start. But I would also say that she didn't look as mobile in that game against Spain. I think France are more than capable of being physical and knocking her around a little bit and doing some of that same level of physicality and a little bit of that kicking. So again, I think if you do have France going that way, it doesn't make sense for me to then have Alex Morgan overexerting herself running around trying to lead a press.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I would expect maybe a counter press. Like if an attack breaks down, we try and win it back high, because the US just tends to do that, but not a sort of exert yourself. That's a way of doing it when it's worth doing, and so you're not doing it constantly to drain yourself in the heat.
Yeah.
Anything else from this game that you would like to talk about before we wrap it up? I feel that's a pretty good preview, but I'm always open for more business.
No, I think probably that preview, if you were listening to it as a neutral, you would come away thinking it feels like France maybe have the edge, but I think that's probably because we're both very preoccupied with how to defeat France. So maybe we're focused a little bit more on their threats and less so on like what do we expect the United States to do to beat France again.
Yeah, there's an en français version of this preview where they're talking about like, oh, what do we do about Tobin Heath? Is Marjorie good enough defensively? They're probably having the reverse conversation mirror conversation we had about Crystal Dunn, and they're talking about Rapinoe's crossing, and they're talking about Morgan being one of the best strikers in the world, and are we quick enough to keep up with her, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can see this from the other perspective.
Le Total Football Program.
That sounds close.
Yeah, I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah. Okay, so ready to wrap it up? Okay, that game is...
I thought we were doing something. I was like, what are we doing? What? Huh?
Ready, go. The game is Friday. It is 3 p.m. kickoff Eastern. It is on Fox. Big Fox. It's on Big Fox.
Big Fox.
I expect there to be a gigantic audience for this. I'm hoping people either finish work early or sneakily watch it at work, or even watch it at work for the last couple of hours. You know, a lot of workplaces have like last couple of hours. Like I know places that like open beers and stuff when it gets to be about 3-4 o'clock on a Friday. Won't happen at US Soccer at US Soccer House, but maybe
as long as they have their laptops out, maybe it will be permitted. Lindsay Horan and Kelly O'Hara, I think, put out a video where they were writing your "Let me out of work, please, boss" letter, so you could use that as a template if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, try it, see if it works.
Yeah. Go for it.
But it's in your favor. It's Friday afternoon, right?
It is.
Yeah. Will we be off work? We can take the afternoon off?
Yeah, probably. I think so. We'll have to. I think you need written permission, though. That's the rule. Yeah, so that's how that will have to work. One more thing we should talk about before we end today's show is our live show that we've got coming up.
There's a live show?
Did you not know?
Why hasn't anybody told me?
We were trying to keep you out of it, basically. Yeah.
It's called the 3-Man Live Show.
Jason Davis was just going to do an English impression. We were going to pretend like that was you.
So yes, there is a live show. The live show is July 13th. It's at Audi Field, the Audi Field.
The Audi Field.
In the centre circle.
Definitely.
It's not really in the centre circle. It's in one of the facilities they have there.
Yes. Yeah. It's not quite like live at Wembley. It's more of a like live in a room at Wembley. It's about what we're going for.
But it will be within the confines of Audi.
It will.
Of Audi Field. As the Cooligans said on their show, we're not like doing it from just outside Audi Field in the parking lot. So it's us and it's the Cooligans. It'll be a night of like fun soccer talk and comedy, and I honestly think we got good at it over the summer. We learned a lot of things, and we'll be even better on July 13th.
Knock on wood.
So we've tweeted out the link to the tickets. Tickets are $20 plus about $1 convenience fee.
Yeah, and a link to be able to purchase tickets will be in today's show notes.
Yes,
I like to throw that in whenever I'm not the one who's editing the show.
Oh, well then I'll have to put it in.
All right.
But also, tickets are limited, right? There are only so many tickets available. I genuinely, if you want to make sure you get a ticket, don't wait till the last minute because there might not be any. So buy them now.
I should go buy some now?
Yeah, buy them early and often.
All right, can we end the show so I can go buy tickets?
I mean, you will probably get a pass to get in. Yeah.
Even so, can't risk it.
I'll vouch for you.
Can't risk it.
I'll vouch for you.
All right.
And if you've never heard of the Cooligans, go listen to their show. I think you'll like it. All right, Taylor Rockwell, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Right back at you, buddy.
Listeners, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow after USA versus France. Send her victorious, happy and glorious.